So this is a really fresh and light curry. You can make it as spicy as you want, as mild as you want, and the ingredients are kind of negotiable. There are things that you can swap in, and it's just really nice, quick and easy to make, and I can make it more quickly than if I ordered a takeaway, and obviously it's a lot more healthy. So I'm just going to talk you through the ingredients, or perhaps Mr. Bear is, but that's really unhygienic. Get down. Right, so here we have fresh cooked prawns. We've got a handful of fresh coriander, some basmati rice, and 3 chopped, quite largish fresh tomatoes. They're just diced. Left the skin on and the seeds. An onion. A whole load of spinach. You can use young spinach or normal spinach. Doesn't really matter. That just cooks for less time. And then here we have some spices. We've got garlic cloves, 2 of those. A chilli. You can use as much chilli or as little as you want. And then we've got ground coriander, cumin, turmeric and garam masala, about a heaped teaspoon of each. All of these things are really, really easy to get hold of. Most of the things you'd have in your fridge or in your cupboard already. And in terms of the spices, you probably wouldn't, unless you cook as many curries as I do, want to get a big load of spices like that. Just get the smaller ones, because otherwise they go a little bit stale and useless. But you know, it's well worth investing in the spices and not doing something from a jar that's got loads of additives and preservatives in. Just want to keep it really, really fresh. So the first thing we need to do is chop the onion, the garlic and the chilli. You could either chop it really, really finely with a knife, but I'm lazy, so I use my mini chopper that I've got here. It's just like a tiny food processor, and I stick everything in, which is very lazy. I'm doing garlic and the chilli first, because I want them to be smallest. And the onion goes a little bit mushy and liquefied if you do it for too long. So I'm going to pulse these first. And then the onion, I'm just going to peel it. And just chop it into 8. Just so it makes life easier for the food processor. Or 8 or thereabouts, however many I've done there. And then so you just pulse that look so that the onion's finely chopped. But the chilli and the garlic are really, really finely chopped, so that's why you put them in first. Don't worry if you don't have one of these. They're really, really handy, but if you don't have one, just improve on your knife skills. Just takes a little bit longer. So first of all, I'm going to fry my spices in my pan. Just heat that up on medium heat. I'm using rapeseed oil. I'm adding my spices into the pan. And then immediately adding my onions and chilli and garlic. Just taking that off the heat so that the spices don't catch. You don't want burnt spices. But you just want to release the fragrances from them. It smells amazing already. If that amount of chilli looks scary to you, then as I said, you don't even have to put chilli in at all, but it does really add to the flavour, so if you can handle it just a little bit, it's nice. And it will really just take a couple of minutes to cook those onions because I've cut them up very finely, or I've used the chopper. A little bit more oil. I underestimated how much oil I needed there. I'm going to add my tomatoes next. I'm just going to chop this last tomato. Now I'm using fresh ones because they just taste so much lighter than the tinned ones. I'm leaving the seeds in because they provide some nice water content for the sauce, and I'm leaving the skins on because I'm lazy, and I don't mind the skins, but if you wanted to, you could remove the skins, just dunk them in some boiling water and then run them under cold water, and the skins should come off quite easily. Now I'm going to put my tomatoes in. Including the juice that's run out of them. And just cook those down for a few minutes. And the juices are starting to come out of the tomatoes and make a nice sauce with the onions and the chilli and the garlic and the spices. But if you feel like it needs a bit of a helping hand, you can add a little bit of water, because that will cook off by the time you finish the dish. So you can just add a little bit of water to loosen it up now and again. I'm going to put my rice in now because this really hasn't got that long to go, believe it or not. The rice takes about 9 or 10 minutes, this particular basmati rice that I have. People, I think, overcomplicate some types of cooking rice, and there are some rices that are more difficult to cook, but this is easy cooked basmati. So you just put it in the pan of boiling water, and then on the instructions for this one it says 9 minutes. Set it for exactly 9 minutes, and then every time I drain it off it's absolutely perfect. So can't really go wrong with that. And that gives me 10 minutes to finish off my dish. So I'm just going to cook those tomatoes down for another couple of minutes, and then right at the end finish it off with the spinach, prawns and the coriander. And the prawns don't need to go into the very last minute because they're already cooked. If you're using raw prawns, then you could pop them in maybe 3 or 4 minutes before the end, but these just go in last thing and just get heated through. So the next thing to go in is the spinach. And because this is young spinach, it will wilt really, really quickly. But I just want to take off some of the chunkier... Bear, get down! You're not allowed on there! He's only doing it because he wants to get in. If I touch him, I'm going to have to wash my hands. Go on, get off! Thank you, cameraman. You can either throw this spinach in whole, which is probably what I'm going to do, or if they're bigger leaves, then you can chop them up. But if you chop them up really finely, then, I don't know, I don't think it's got the same nice, wholesome texture. And another thing that you can do, which you can always have in the freezer, is to have a stock of frozen spinach. And this is frozen into blocks. So you can just take out, 6 or 7 of them at a time per person. So that's also good. If you don't have fresh, then next best thing. Don't you dare jump from there into the dog's house. It's going to do it. No, Bear. Oh, stop it. Why are you always trying to get in the camera? So spinach going in, and as I said, it looks like loads. Can't tell you how amazing this smells, by the way, but it will cook down really, really quickly. And it doesn't matter if all this, I've washed it by the way and used a salad spinner. It doesn't matter if all the water hasn't drained off because it just adds to the sauce. Also going to use coriander, but I am going to chop this a little bit. Just don't like big old leaves of coriander. You might do. It's up to you. So at this point you can add a pinch of salt. Depends, personal preference. Give it a taste, see if it needs anything else. If you want it a bit spicier, you can add more chilli. If you've made it far too spicy, then yoghurt is your secret weapon. Full fat yoghurt, not any reduced fat rubbish, because it's the fat in it that really helps to kind of carry the chilli away. So just a big spoonful of that with your supper will be absolutely fine. I serve all my curries with yoghurt anyway, just because I think it's a really nice taste combination. So the spinach is totally wilted down. I'm going to add my coriander. If you don't like coriander, don't add it. I used to hate the taste of coriander, but now I love it. So that's all good and well. And now finally the prawns can go in. I don't want to start cooking them because they'll shrink and they'll go hard, so just making sure they're nice and hot. Everything's in there. You can see the spinach has cooked down. Spinach is amazing for you. Rice is done. Pretty much perfect timing. Use my oven glove. Drain the rice off. So a serving of rice on each plate. You can have more or less rice depending on what kind of eating habits you have. It's not the neatest of assembly as this. You can see how really nice and fresh it all looks. It's not like something you get from the takeaway that's swimming in oil and just generally some gross pre-prepared gravy with your chosen protein in it. Slight bit too much juice on that plate, but that's not mine, so it doesn't matter. And some yoghurt on each. And that is my light and fresh prawn and spinach curry.